Hello and welcome. This is the first weekly recap that we have for the channel, and we're going to be talking about the games from Saturday for the HBA, the Hothead Basketball Association, and the HFL, the Hothead Football League. So let's get into it. The first game for Season 3 was the Houston Snipers taking on the LA Lakers, and honestly this was just the best game to watch out of all of the games that we had on Saturday. And it was really just because this was just a really back and forth game, and you're gonna see it. And here with about 2 minutes left, the lead just kept decreasing for the Houston Snipers. AI would take that three. This was really fun to watch, and it was a great game. Houston Snipers would lead at the end of the first half with a 2-point lead over the LA Lakers. But like I said, this game gets close. So we skip ahead to about a minute remaining, and the Lakers would take the lead for the first time in the game. Fortunately for Houston Snipers fans, they had Goat the center get the rebound, and it was tied heading into the fourth quarter. We skip now to about 3 minutes remaining, and all of a sudden the Lakers have a 5-point lead, but it gets erased by two back-to-back threes for the Houston Snipers. With about a minute remaining though, the Lakers would get 4 points in and would take, I think, a 3-point lead over the Houston Snipers. What you're about to witness is legendary. AI calls game essentially with a 3-point shot and an and-one foul. And they'll come to find a tragic ending for the Lakers. They lose 55-54. Kind of disappointing for them. You can see the stats. Blackman and AI, even Unger. That Houston Sniper squad looks so impressive. And same with the LA Lakers. A lot better than last season, where they were one of the worst teams in the NBA, or in the HBA, excuse me. The next game we have is between the Charlotte Spirits and the Seattle Supersonics. Ray Allen with the poster, and what we saw from just week 1 of season 3 for the HBA was a lot of posters. I probably won't even get into it. That's just one of the main ones that we saw. Gary Payton for 3. And that probably was the final time that this game was close. It was really close for the first half until it wasn't, and you're going to see that coming up. Heading to the third quarter, and you can see 21-29. The Seattle Supersonics were absolutely cooking, and it was really a result from the Charlotte Spirits superstar all-star, also contributing to the HBA, Zach Jones. And that, I believe, 13-point lead was the largest lead of the game. We go now 40-35, an absolute blowout. The Supersonics just did so well. Ray Allen absolutely took over, and the Seattle Supersonics look good on paper, and just really good team overall. And now you can see Zach Jones, 14 points, but 5 for 12. That is less than 45% shooting from the field. And as the head coach for the Minnesota Light Force, this is the first time that I've seen the Charlotte Spirits look actually pretty bad. Alright, the third game from Saturday was between or at least my Minnesota Light Force, taking on the changed Kansas City Renegades. And it's really great to see them back, because last season their owner basically quit, and it led to a lot of stress for the players and just for the whole entire organization. And because he quit, there was lack of funding really for the entire organization for the Kansas City Renegades. This led players to be frustrated, and ultimately the HBA had to take over. But luckily they are back, and this team is now owned by the league themselves, and it's just really great to see them back playing. They played a tough game, and this game was really a defensive stalemate almost. Not a whole ton of scoring, and just as you can see, just tons and tons of good displays of defense. And it was really tough at times for both teams to score. Lots of blocks, and in some cases just some really really bad shots taken, missed shots as well. And at first it looked like the Renegades could have pulled away, but this Minnesota Light Force team is learning not to give up. They're coming off of back-to-back seasons where they made the playoffs as a top-seeded team, but lost in the first round. This will be the final couple shots for the Minnesota Light Force. Tucker would step to the line. He would miss that, and essentially this game was over. It's a foul on Michaela, and he would end up making the second, giving the win to the Minnesota Light Force 43-40. Now checking the stats, it was a pretty well-distributed game for the Light Force, which ultimately propelled them to the win. But a really great job by the center, Robinson, 18 points. He really saved the day and got the rebounds for the Kansas City Renegades. The primetime game and the final game of Saturday night was basically a finals rematch between the Chicago Bulls and the Phoenix Suns, and it was close. And like we've seen with a couple other games, it wasn't close heading into the second half, and it was really just a takeover and a repeat of what we saw basically in the 4-game series between the Chicago Bulls and the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns would take the first game in that series, but the Chicago Bulls easily clawed back and took it in 4 games. And you can see the lead just kept growing. The Bulls absolutely went off, and something really special happened in this game. And you're just watching it progress right now, and you're not even realizing it. But it was absolute takeover by really just the Bulls, and just their 3-point shooting really took them and carried them throughout this game. As you can see, the first overall pick from last year, Kazapov, who won Rookie of the Year, is just cooking right now. 55-45, and this would be the final shot essentially of this game. Bulls would end up winning, and as the stats are going to show, it was incredible what Michael Jordan did. Tied for 29 points, the most, or the third most in HBA history. You can see he did it on pretty incredible numbers, 10 for 11, and just continuing on with that full Chicago Bulls team. D Wade, 12 assists, only scored 3 points, but when you're a facilitator, you don't really need the points, you need the assists. And for Kazapov and Embiid, they absolutely helped out, and this is what got them that ring. Now going over the Phoenix Suns stats, and it's something that we see a lot with the Charlotte Spirits and Zach Jones. It's happening to Bell right now. 19 points, and his team just didn't show up today. And that's one of those things. When you're the Suns, you gotta figure out how to get the full team involved. And ultimately, that's how they're going to win games this season. That is all for the HBA. We now move on to the HFL. The first game that we are going to be talking about with the HFL is between the LA Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. First, we saw a 5-yard pass from Matt Stafford to Cooper Kupp to give the LA Rams a 7-0 lead after a forced fumble. Later on in the second quarter, the LA Rams would only expand their lead from a 30-yard bomb from Matt Stafford to Cooper Kupp once again. He's a fantasy beast, not only in real life and in Big Win. And it may have not been looking close, but to end the quarter, Tommy Scott caught a 30-yard pass from Peyton Manning. It was 14-7. And at this point in the third quarter, with another 30-yard bomb from Matt Stafford to Cooper Kupp, you would think that the LA Rams have this in the bag. Absolutely not. An entire choke job. The Indianapolis Colts would eventually start coming back and clawing their way into this game. And it was 21-14 heading into the fourth quarter. And with 2 minutes and 26 seconds remaining, Gary Savage caught a 6-yard pass from Peyton Manning. But luckily for the LA Rams, Matt Gay would win this game for them. And ultimately, the LA Rams took a 24-21 dub. We head over to the stats now. And while it may look like a takeover by the LA Rams, it's really the Colts defense that keeps them in games. As you can see, two turnovers for the LA Rams, 4 sacks. But ultimately, the Rams offense just took over and they won this game 24-21. We now head to the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Vikings played the Chiefs and ultimately won 14-10 against the young and up-and-coming Kansas City Chiefs squad. Now let's check out the summary and the stats. In the first quarter, with 5 minutes and 43 seconds remaining, Jeremy Chrysler caught a 3-yard pass from Gregory Sloan, but it came after some pretty good offensive production and some pretty big gains. We head to the second quarter where Mecole Hardman tied the game up from a 10-yard pass from George Elliott, who may not be Patrick Mahomes, but is a good replacement. Larry Quick gave the Kansas City Chiefs a lead for the first time in the game in the third, but ultimately, with the Kansas City Chiefs offense not really doing anything, the Minnesota Vikings took opportunity with this and ultimately won the game 14-10. Checking out just the overall stats, you can see what I said really just supports that. It was really not a very rushing game, very much passing, and time of possession. The Kansas City Chiefs were a whole 10 minutes over than the Minnesota Vikings, but ultimately just couldn't do really a whole lot with the ball. The final game that we have is between the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Another young team in their first season lost to a veteran team. The Arizona Cardinals won 9-6. And that's really all you need to know for the HFL. Final announcements before we end this video. Later, either today or tomorrow, we'll be coming out with a video that is a commentary of Game 3 or Game 4 of the HLB World Series between the St. Louis Sharks and the Cardinals. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.